Many boards have been using dynamic budgeting for years, but the pandemic has led to many others using it for the first time. So what is dynamic budgeting? How does it differ from classic budgeting? And what are the pros and cons? Well, a good analogy, I think, is to think about the difference between a map and a sat-nav. A map is drawn at a moment in time, and we're going to use it no matter what the conditions are today, a bit like the annual budget. A sat-nav takes in the latest information, and we're prepared to change our route as we go. And that's really what dynamic budgeting is all about. Why has it been popular? It's been particularly popular with early stage businesses or those in newer or more volatile markets. It's becoming popular because of the pandemic, where there are greater uncertainties, greater volatility, and the impact of those things is very significant. What does it mean in practice, though? Well, it means in practice that the board and the exec together have to be really clear they understand the financial and operational dynamic of the business. They also have to have agreed what their risk appetite is to the most important things: minimum cash balances, balance between short and long-term investment, and so on. Some things are easier to plan than others using dynamic budgeting because we have greater information, or we're more certain about that information. There are some challenges in deploying dynamic budgeting, one of which is the need for tighter and sharper and quicker financial information, and this can put a strain on a finance function which is possibly undergoing even greater strains as well at the moment. So you have to have the right resource in place to be able to do this. Dynamic budgeting can also have an influence on culture. It can be really positive in the sense that if you want to create more of a performance culture, you want to create more of a flexible culture, then it can reinforce that for you. But it can also have a downside in culture. It can make and lead to an uncertain atmosphere. People aren't sure whether they're going to get the money for this particular hire, that particular project, or make that particular commitment, and so on. You also have to be really careful about this balance between the short and long-term investment and not sacrifice long-term investment. And that's why you need to agree a framework with the executive. That's why you need to agree the parameters, and you need to have a good review system in place so you're reviewing, is it actually working? So to sum up, I think dynamic budgeting is likely to be helpful if you're not using it already, but you do need to really consider hard the cultural and management issues before you put it into practice. Thank you.